experiences, but more importantly, have troubleshooted to create better experiences with student places. So we're going to start out. We're going to let the panelists introduce themselves, tell you a little bit about themselves, who they represent, and their connection to this work. We're also extremely lucky in this session to have numerous student interns that have actually.
Sure. Sure. Bryce Frazier. I'm service director of student programs at Logan Hockey Schools. Been in this role for about 5 or 6 years. What does that mean? I do a whole bunch of everything that needs to be done that touches students throughout it. Whether that some of it's academic planning, some of it's I'm our test coordinator. I oversee our online blended learning school. Oversee obviously some of the career college partnerships, AP, CCP. Good bit of stuff, but enjoy my job immensely. Have a wonderful opportunity to work with a wonderful team, with students, community members. So that's kind of what I've been. I've been at Logan Hockey for most of my career, entering 33 years in education. Served as an elementary, middle, and high school principal. Also was 10 years as a science teacher. How I began my career.
I'm Christine Woodard, and I oversee a grant, so I'm fortunate that I get to work with Bryce, and that means I get to do a whole lot of different things. So I work with our Ohio Handle with Care. I'm the Hocking County coordinator of that. I also work with BIS, and then I work with college and career readiness, so it's kind of exciting when we see internships and get the opportunity to bridge some of those gaps. And we're very fortunate to be able to create opportunities at Logan Hockey where we may not have them. So have great partners in regards to the hospital and people are saying, yep, you don't have it there, but let's figure out how to build it, and have administrators that are like, okay, let's just go ahead and get it done, so that we have students like Freddie here that join us in super commute to be able to take advantage of being able to share our impact. And it's a great job, and I love every day because we never quite know what the day's like.
Hello, I'm Dr. Amanda Hedrick from Shawnee State University. I am currently serving as the Executive Director for the Cooker Innovation Hub. Well, we help businesses start or expand their services. I also oversee our Center for Lifelong Learning, where individuals can come to the university and earn a short-term credential. So anything that's not degree seeking, whether it be an associate or a bachelor's degree, I help facilitate those programs. I also have the opportunity to oversee our Bear Tracks program, which is our summer workforce training program. We started 3 years ago. We've successfully had 3 different groups come through. I started it as a pilot. I met the GRIT team and they said, hey, we want you to do this. And I said, okay, let's do it. And so just a few months later, we launched Bear Tracks. We had 54 students go through the first year, 54 the second year, and then we had 96 students complete this summer program. We have several different tracks that students complete. From healthcare, we've had basic EMT and phlebotomy. In business, we've had Microsoft Office, Human Resource Associate. We've had social media for business. In technology, we've had CompTIA Security Plus, IT Fundamentals. We've had CompTIA A Plus. In education, we've worked with students who want to enter, childcare industry, help them get, all of the training that's required for them to earn their Child Development Associate credential. And let's see, I know there's another one that I'm forgetting. I should have written this down. But we just try to help students that maybe are graduating high school that don't have a plan, get a plan. And then during our second year, we were able to partner with Building Bridges to Careers to offer paid internships. And that was a huge game changer. So every student had a work-based learning experience embedded in that summer workforce training program that was only 3 or 4 weeks long. And I remembered what the other program was. It is our CDCA program, so students that want to go in and help those that might be struggling with some type of chemical dependency. But really looking forward to the conversation today, learning from others, and fielding any questions so that more students can have these opportunities.
My name is Tanya Hatton. I am the HR manager for Foremost Management, who is the parent company of Total Media Group, and a few others, but today's focus is Total Media. We were lucky enough to receive a phone call, hey, from Jeremy. What are you doing this summer? We have kids that need place. And it was really close to the cutoff time. So we were able to scramble together 13 high school students, some freshmen all the way up to graduating seniors, and kind of learn how to do a large internship program, because I've done small ones throughout my career. And as an employer, HR related in some sort for the last 30 years, the the issue is finding qualified individuals to come do the job that we have. And smaller internships are a little easier to manage, focus on one career set. But with Total Media Group growing as quickly as we are, 2 years ago we had four radio stations just in Jackson County, and as of just this last month, we are now, I believe, at 24 radio stations covering 22 counties, touching 4 different states. So we grew so fast, and the need on the technical side and behind the scenes of what we do with our radio stations, there was just not enough staffing. So working with Jeremy and creating that job description that allowed our summer help to learn what we need them to do and then get paid for it more than minimum wage was huge for us. We have put these 13 kids to work. Anything from live streaming to promotions to producing radio commercials to being a radio host to being a TV host. Gosh, kids, gals, I don't even think that covers half of what they have learned throughout this process. But what I have learned as an employer is probably, in my opinion, more useful. And I would love to be able to share what I didn't know that I now know, to build the internship programs going forward.
So we're going to talk about things in a couple of buckets. So we'll look at career exploration, skill development, networking opportunities, and engagement. Start off with career exploration. How can these student experiences, these placements, whether they're internships or job shadowing, effectively expose students to some of the diverse options in their
Sure. So, I mean, we do quite a few. Obviously, career exploration is a requirement of the whole schools in Ohio. We try to do things, obviously, we focus a lot more on our middle schools where it's in our elementary, but middle schools where we really start most of our real systematic programmatic training. In 8th grade, or 7th grade, we do a little career series called Reality Day where we have lots of community businesses come in and we simulate real life world for them for a day based on the kids' GPA, how much money they get, how much they want to spend. Just kind of make it a fun activity. It's been going on for a really long time at our middle school. We have all kinds of career partners that come in. It's led by our 7th grade staff. It's a really kind of a fun day. It's not a big thing that has us, but it does open their eyes just to different community members, and it gets our community members to engage with students, and I think that's really important. 8th grade, we require kids to do a transition to career class where they have to do some career job shadowing and that sort of thing, and they learn about different careers. That kind of goes through our family consumer sciences thing. High school, again, we continue with career explorations, but eventually what we always knew what we wanted to do was not only just expose kids to careers, but we wanted to make sure we got kids in places. So really that's been the focus of the last couple of years of finding kids placements in our community and somehow make that work within their still being a student schedule, which is that's the kind of the real, I don't know, the crux of the situation. One, finding a kid that's going to go there and be dependable. That's what people want. One, it's hopefully in an area of interest for the kid as well. And then also having flexibility. You have employers or workplace sites that will help you messed up and they're gone, or she messed up and they're gone. They have to have a little bit of understanding. These are kids that are learning experiences, but it's important for them to be that. In our county, we don't have a huge diversity of amount of employers. We try to, what we do as a school district, again, I'm going to pick on Megan at the hospital. We find several partners and we try to find what is it that they have that will match up with the kid's interests. We may not have everything that a kid wants to do, but we try to make placements happen within partners who are willing to do that. And we have to be a little bit creative sometimes. But this isn't exactly what you want to do, but this person's going to give you some sort of an experience on that. I think that, and actually, because kids don't know what they want to do or what they can't do, getting them in that workplace, we've been real lucky. The hospital sometimes will just say, we'll rotate them around to different things, and it exposes them to different things that they think. What they think they want, right, may not actually be what they want to do. But getting them in that environment, no matter what that environment is, exposes them to other people and opportunities that I think is maybe the most important work. Hopefully, sometimes it's some sort of a placement that's going to end up them actually getting a job offer if that's something what they really want to do. That's good for the business and good for the kid. Ultimately, that's great, but if nothing else, sometimes that is what happens. So a lot of our work is kind of working with our partners and figuring out how that is. Christine,
it's a layered approach, like Bryce said. It's about creating that partnership and then utilizing that partnership. So we might have this idea of saying, we really would like to do a mental health internship and we want to be able to utilize the hospital because nobody else will take us. How do we go about doing that? And we reach out to somebody and say, Megan, so what do you think we can do here? And they come back and we have a lot of conversations around it and we figure it out. But it's not a one and done kind of thing. It's coming back and talking at a career speaker series and sharing what are the different jobs and what are the different avenues you can pursue in healthcare. It's exposing them to those job status where they get that rotation. It's about putting them back at the career fair where they're interviewing students that are like, I don't really know what I want to do. Well, let's look for an employer that offers a whole lot of different things that you might be interested in. Like, I can't work at a hospital. I don't necessarily want to go to college. Well, there are jobs that you can do there that you can work full time and you can work and receive benefits. And if you do decide you want to go to college, by the way, they have this really great partnership that will help make it affordable for you down the road. So utilizing those partnerships and that layered approach so that we're really working to create a network and finding the partners that are willing to come to the table and say, yep, we can work together and we can do this. And if we can't, then it's like, well, what can we do to still partner with an agency to offer that short-term internship, like a mental health internship, and say, what can we do at the school that takes the ownership off of you, but we can still partner with you to make sure that we're providing a rich experience, utilizing it in multiple ways to serve the students, but also to serve the employers. Bottom line is, we want to train the future employees, and we want to expose them to as many careers, but prepare them for those careers when they get there doing so.
Sure. I wrote down 4 different examples that I want to share. With the career exploration piece, we didn't understand how important that was until the second year. And for one of our students, he graduated high school. He really didn't want to go to college. He didn't really feel like he was a good fit for it. But he had heard someone come into his high school class and talk about IT, and that kind of sparked his interest. And what I really appreciated is that the guidance counselor noticed that. And then she heard about the Bear Tracks program and that there was an IT track. And so she recommended and just basically like drove him as like, you're doing this. You know, like, this is your future. You need to take advantage of it. And so he came, he participated, and he completed the CompTIA Security Plus program, passed it the first time, which is a really hard exam after 3 weeks of training and preparation. And we invited him to come and talk during a presentation where folks from Washington, D.C. were coming in to hear about our challenges with broadband internet access. And he attended that meeting and he shared, you know, his experience. And while he was speaking, and he just showed up in little gym shorts and a t-shirt because this is a high school kid. Like, he didn't know people in suits were coming to the table, and he's kind of sitting there feeling out of place. But he showed up, and as he was speaking, one of the ladies in the room, Sandy Murs, superintendent of our ESC, started texting her IT department and said, we need to get this kid an internship. Like, we need to hire him. And at the end of the meeting, she spoke up. She's like, I was not being rude. Kyle, you have an interview as soon as this meeting's over because I want you to go. And so he went to the interview, got the job at the ESC, and then the next year he got hired at Jackson as, you know, their IT professional working in that district. So this is a student who didn't have a career pathway. The guidance counselor saw him kind of take interest in a speaker that came in, and then she followed up with him and made sure that he was successful. So that's one example of that career exploration tack that got him into a good paying job. He's no longer driving through Uber Eats. Like, he has a future. And when I went to an event later at that facility where he was working, he had a shirt with a logo, with a name ID badge, and he heard someone say my name. He was like, I had to find you because I wanted to show you. He was so proud. And like, those are the moments that I know as educators we live for. Another example of where career exploration is really important is with our recent cohort that went through our education program. They did a work-based learning experience in an early childhood classroom. And as a former early childhood teacher of 15 years, I said, if you can teach in ECE, you can teach anyone anything. Like, that is like the hardest place. Well, only 4 of the 15 students decided that they want to continue in education. Let's figure that out now after 3 weeks before you go to university for 4 years, take on student loans, invest a lot of your time and money in that, and then realize, like, I don't think I can do this for the rest of my life. So that's another benefit of that career exploration. Another example, one of our phlebotomy students this summer came to me on day 2, and he said, I didn't know I was going to have to hold someone's hand when I do this work. He was like, I don't like people and I don't want to touch people. And so we very quickly realized, okay, you're not in the right track. And then we had another one who was just like really nervous and his hand was shaking. And if you've ever, you know, witnessed a phlebotomy class, many of the students come out with cotton balls on their arms where they've been sticking each other. Nobody wanted this kid to like come at them. So these are the opportunities that help us identify what career path might work. We had another one in healthcare who did a CCMA program with us, went on and did the phlebotomy program, and now he's in nursing school, and he's thinking about what's next, so we can help get people on those pathways. He had an internship with King's Daughters. He's now working with SOMC. He's getting that tuition support, and he came up to me last week. It was his birthday, and he stopped in, and he said, for the first time, I'm getting paid to go to college. Like, he got a refund check, and he was so excited. He's like, I'm making money now and, like, getting educated. So he was super excited. We had another student who went into the basic EMT program and decided to go into nursing school. And they don't have to come to Shawnee State. If they do, that's great. He decided to go on to OU. But he messaged me, and he was like, I already know everything. Like, all of those, you know, anatomy courses and classes that you take first year of nursing. He was like, I already know all this. Like, I'm so far ahead, and he was so grateful for that opportunity. And then we had another group of students this summer who showed up for the CDCA program. And after day 1, the instructor called, and she's like, okay, so no one knew what CDCA was. They had no idea what they were going to be doing, but they were excited and they're willing to stay, you know. They had to go to, like, AA meetings. They didn't know they were going to have to do that to get their CDCA. So, again, it's just that exposure. So many kids have no idea what these possibilities are ahead of them. So it's so important. And what I like about our our program, you can spend 3 to 4 weeks and know if you're in the right path or not. And the program, because it's funded by Grit, it's completely free to the students. They have no housing costs, they have no meal costs, they have no tuition costs. Everything is free. They don't even have to pay for their certification exams. Like, we take care of everything. So career exploration and with that work-based learning component is so important.
If I could just add to that just real quick. Hopefully none of those were my students that were like, but
They weren't.
yeah, we utilize the assessment. So our students take an assessment and we know before we send them if we're putting them in the right track. So that's one way of, like, the students that we sent, we know we're going to be solid students for those tracks because we can look at their data and go from their data with grit assessment.
And that connects back to what Bryce starts with, making sure that there are more opportunities for exposure early on, because they're talking about programs that are high school seniors, newly graduated, trying to figure that out on the fly. Work has to be done before that too.
Yes.
We all know, everybody in this room knows we're still playing catch up for a while, but it is relative. It's relative. 10 or 11 or 41.
51. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up.
So, thinking of those skills and that development, and certainly as an HR person, just what you've seen beyond the job description, kind of skills that are necessary to be successful in these experiences, but also that you can help them develop as an employer. That's not something they can do with their classroom.
Soft skills are just as vital as hard skills. You can be an employee, but can you be a good employee? And that doesn't mean you're just smart and good at the task assigned. It means a multitude of other things. Are you reliable, dependable, honest? The ability to be a team leader or the ability to be the support person. Like, teaching those soft skills is probably more of a challenge from an employer standpoint than the hard skills. Like, we can show our students how to put together the radio broadcast, but we have to teach them how to interact with the community when we're in the area to do the radio broadcast. So pop the tent, put the equipment together, and then stand around and be on your phone? No. Go up, introduce yourself, tell them who we are, what we're about. Give them the opportunity to come out of their shell by doing it with them. One of the things that our interns have had the opportunity to do is work with many of the different department heads and staff members throughout our total media group. Whether it's a radio broadcaster or a TV producer or the vice president and general manager of Total Media, with regards to marketing and promotions and ideas, the entire employer experience involves multiple people within the employer, and giving them an opportunity to learn how to be a good employee, a reliable employee, is probably just as important, if not more important, from an employer standpoint. Hard skills, you can go to school and learn that. You can learn it here on site, but retainability is an issue that we have in today's employable world. And these opportunities through working with high school students, it gives an employer the opportunity to show what it's like to be an employee, how to be an employee, and the employer learns what the employee needs best. Do you need exposure to this? Do you need exposure to that? It's a communication gap that when I was younger and going through all of this, we didn't have. But as the generations evolve, that gap gets larger and larger and larger. And this was my opportunity within Foremost Management, not just with Total Media, but the other companies that we have, to start building that bridge again. The kids did a phenomenal job putting together a promotional video, and it's talking about building bridges. And can't tell you how proud I am of them. But it does. It identifies what we've been able to do, soft skill and hard skill, all in under 3 minutes, in under 3 months. And their willingness to absorb the information, and even when they've been mad and ready to be in tears, all of them mad and ready to be in tears, they're just as proud of themselves. And how often do high school students get to be that proud of themselves through all the frustration of learning how to do the hard skills and soft skills, end up with that pride? So as an employer, the soft skills are, I know I kind of digressed there, but proud mama moment, but as an employer, it's important that the soft skills are equally communicated, if not more, with the expectations.
And that was certainly a unique situation, having that many interns together and having to kind of learn the dynamics of what skills, you need a little more of this, which teams you put together, and how the team dynamics develop. Certainly a perspective that not all of our sites are clear to get, because it's a lot more often. So.
And we unfortunately don't work with our local schools as much as I'd like to. I hope that develops as we develop as an employer into the BB2C program and all the other grants that are available. We've worked some with our Buckeye Hills Career Center and our media program at school, at high school. But I would love to see more of an involvement, so we can collaborate and better serve all the students, not just the ones I'm calling on the phone. Hey, I got some money to pay you this summer. I would love that to just explode, especially with serving 22 counties. It'd be very helpful.
I think we kind of addressed a lot of that action, but share price of Christine. Let's kind of tie that into their community, making sure that there's value, right? There's value for players, there's value for agencies that are kind of how you that aspect.
I can talk about that in regards to, we work with the Ohio Handle with Care. For those of you who are not familiar with Handle with Care, it's essentially an early alert system where we get a notification from a first responder that's sent directly to a school, and then the school and staff can then support the student that may be experiencing that ACE. So we looked at that in terms of what that trauma might look like, and we got this opportunity to say, what can we do to provide a meaningful internship experience? We have no student voice in this program. And we thought that was strange, but little did we know that that was intentional. They just hadn't figured out how to do that, because there was concern that we may re-traumatize a student by exposing them to that event. Like, we're not intending to do that. Let's work around this, because we really want to know what is important to students, because really it's about supporting them. It's about building connections. So when we talked with them and we said, we're not going to do anything that's going to re-traumatize students. We are not going to do anything that's going to expose them to sensitive data about another student. It's not like we are sharing names of students with them. But what we are going to do is get their input. What do students need to feel supported? How can we build connection with the families and students to say, okay, if something happens to me, what does it look like when I come back to school the next day? And we started getting student voice. And when we got student voice and these students started speaking and they had the opportunity to share locally within our partners meetings, they had the opportunity to share statewide with an Ohio Handle with Care meeting. And then they had the opportunity to share nationally at a national Handle with Care meeting. And people were just like sitting back, like in awe of everything they had to say. And this started when students were like, I don't think I have anything of value. I know nothing about what a traumatic event is, let alone where my voice is going to be. And why are they going to even listen to me? I'm 17 years old. And life's not all that hard sometimes, but sometimes it is. And I'm like, a lot to listen to. It's you that we're trying to support. We're doing all of this work, and we're not including the voice. So when they started speaking and people started listening, I think there was a really big impact in terms of now what their voices showed is it may actually change how the Ohio Handle with Care program is running and how it might be rolled out across the nation. All because they shared their experiences. And it's like, if nothing else, we know that we need to get student voice in this conversation. And we need to do it in a way that's not sharing sensitive data. We need to do it in a way that's not re-traumatizing. But we still need to understand what is important for the students. At Trinity, I'm going to let you talk to us for a minute. I know I'm putting you on the spot and she's used to it. What was your experience when you were presenting at all of these different groups in terms of the feedback from them?
I think really the thing that I kind of saw as we were beginning is that a lot of the time when you are a part of programs like and you're hearing the same voices, you're hearing the same things being said. I think sometimes when you get that other perspective, get the perspective of the people who you're running the program for, it really just highlights some things that you thought about or things that you did think about, but it just puts it on kind of a different level. I don't remember who it was, but in one of the meetings we had, somebody just kind of stopped and they were just kind of like, I've never heard that being said. Like, you've always thought it, but you've never heard that. And I think it was kind of one of those things where, yes, we are kids, but also have an impact and are involved. A lot of the times there is this kind of stigma that this new generation is kind of failing, or that we don't have the skills that the generations before us have, or the expectations. The generations before us are impacting now. They are the ones who are raising us up, the ones who are giving us the skills that we need. And I think that these programs, like the internships and building bridges to peers, they're giving us those skills, and they're not, and even the skills that we already have, they're highlighting, because we do have a lot of those skills, but not been taught how to use them. And I think that internships are getting told that you have these skills, and here's how you teach them to the level that I still don't know what I want to do. But that was my main thing in high school. Is everyone around me kind of had their plan set, or at least an idea. And I never had that. And it was one of the things that I was like stressing and worrying about. And for this internship, got to see so many different levels and so many different careers. I'm a person, I'm an independent. I'm like, oh, well, I could do this and I love to do this, and I can't decide on one thing. The main thing I've learned is I want to help you. And that's what I'm passionate about. It's what I'm just not sure how I'm do that yet. But with these programs, you see that there are so many people who want to help and are supporting you. And we've heard that said throughout today, but see how the community is involved, see how the schools are involved, and see how the workforce is involved. And I think that see that all come together into one thing, it just really changes perspective on a lot. I know an example of that after doing this internship and seeing how the community wants to support. I went to our county fair and I actually started a show called Day in the Ring. If you're not familiar with what that is, it allows individuals who have disabilities or special needs to be able to share with it, show and tons of community support, and I think when you get kids involved, when you get individuals involved in chips or job shadowing or whatever it may be. You're letting them know that they can do things that inspire that you're out their back on that. And then these kids want to give back to their community as well. So they're benefiting, they want to give back to it. I've seen locally that have the support, and I do want to say local now, and I think a lot of the other people involved in this internship as well. It's like I've always pictured going hours away from where we live, and we don't have to do that because we have the opportunity right there.
Quick recap of that, I think, is awesome that kids actually, if we give them opportunities, if you give them opportunities to show what they can do, I think it's meaningful for them. But also, it's, I think, meaningful in that they do see that some of the connections in their community, they're not given that opportunity to do that. They don't even know those things kind of exist, or don't know how they work or interweave. So I think it's really important to have those things. I know we're getting close on time. Go ahead.
Can you just tell me your name?
Trinity Rafferty.
Penny Rafferty. Like, she could have done the
I
entire presentation for
I
us.
told her that.
Yeah. So well done. So articulate.
Here, come sit.
Yeah.
No,
Really should.
dang.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes, thank you.
Tanya, you want to introduce a couple of your interns?
So out of the 13, 6 of them took the time out of their high school day to skip school and hang out with this old lady. In the very back is Kenton Michael. Kenton, can you wave? He is a high school senior at Oak Hill High School. He has, I think, narrowed down more to what he is going to explore more of. Not decided because you don't have to. But he has narrowed down some paths as part of this experience. We've talked about that. And in front of him in the purple is Sabella McCartney. She is a 17-year-old senior at Jackson High School who has a list of, well, when she went through her interview, I had her mom come in and do it with her. It's a process, and I wanted to include the parents in the process. So they came in and we were talking about what was available. And one of the questions I asked, what do you want to be when you are done in high school? And she has a notebook of 2 or 3 pages of different things that she thinks that she might want to do. And as she learns more about them, she'll either cross them off or explore. And how many have you crossed off since you've been with us?
I don't know if I'm like crossed out many, but
Have you added?
highlighted
Good.
I didn't really.
Exactly. Like I was watching her expressions when you were talking because it sounded so similar. I know I want to do something that involves this, but I have no idea what is out there for me to be able to explore that more. So this has been an opportunity for her to meet other clients. Our clients are businesses. We have a very unique setup. So we have clients who need commercials written. So maybe she wants to go into writing. So she throws some commercials together, or we're pretty unique with what we have to offer. Next to her is Miss Jade Six. Jade is an online student. She's a homeschool student. Her mother actually works for our company and thought it was a good opportunity for her socialization skills. She's so much fun to be around, but she's really not in the mix of public school students. So this was an opportunity not only for learning different areas of career choice, but it also puts her in a position that she would not have been put in before. Building bridges came to light. Next to her is our little aerospace engineer, Emma Malone. Emma is a high school senior at Jackson. She's our quiet one, but you have to watch out for her. She is brilliant beyond her years. I enjoyed having Emma around. She was slow to get started into the program because of all of her summer commitments. She spent some time at Brown University over the summer. She's a smart cookie. But she has been a joy. I think I think she's enjoyed this experience. I'm not sure this is something she would have been involved in with the techie side of it all, marketing, promotions, on-air talent. Like she's been great. Her soft skills, I think, have improved quite a bit. And you guys know this. You've said it before. Sometimes it's just hard to know how to be around people because we're always in this school environment. It's always so structured. And structure is great, but you also have to learn how to grow into being an adult. So I think that I've seen a lot of changes with her soft skills and maturity levels. Still being a kid, but still coming to the professional side and the career side of it. Back behind Emma is Max Piranha. Max and his brother Mikey, were involved a little bit later in June. They got in it a little bit later, but just in time to do our career or our county fair tour. Him and his brother spent a lot of time with all the others, of course, but I think those two were mainly focused on marketing and promotions and broadcast setup at the county fairs. We went to how many fairs? 9 county fairs, spent weeks and weeks at county fairs interviewing cows and like
Dream, Vegas dream.
I'm telling they've social media postings. We've learned so much about TikTok because I'm a grandma and I don't know TikTok other than for recipes. But they have him and his brother were key players in that promotional and marketing role of what we had to offer, as well as learning the hard skills. And up front here, this is Adrian Sharp. Adrian is a Jackson High School graduate from last year. His plans before the internship started was to attend Rio Grande University and chose to back off a little while. His experience helped him realize that he's not quite ready to make a decision on a financial debt that he just wasn't ready for. And because of his growth as an individual and as an employee, Total Media has decided to, as of the end of this internship, to hire him into our production crew. He manages our Main Street TV morning show from 9 to 10 every morning, and the boy wouldn't have said boo if he had a ghost sheet over top of him. And now he's a key player in leading troubleshooting issues, and he's just key. And he's developed so much as an individual, and I just absolutely adore him. So I'm excited that he's willing to come on with us. I think we're going to start out part-time, just to give you some time still to adjust, but we're going to keep him. And we wouldn't have had that opportunity without having this exposure.
That is great. It's awesome to have all of you guys here with us. We appreciate you modeling the work that you are doing here today. We are right at our time. One in the audience have a question for panelists, or maybe even someone.
You talked about interns. I had a lot of interns that went out, and there's 5 or 6 of them that stellar healthcare with for like a client, and after they did their 40-hour internship, they still go back and volunteer in business. So they loved it. So just that, getting those units out and expose them, they probably never would have even thought or read about. So it's so important for those students down and drop out just because they don't know what they're about.
You introduce yourself.
I'm Sandy Dalma. I'm a fair navigator in county. So I'm an OBS that is stationed in Monroe County, Tablet, or high school.
So she has experiences in very rural areas, limited access to business partners, although she's made some key relationships not only with Stellar Health, but like American Heavy Plates. They sing her praises and bringing students to her that they eventually hire. So yeah, but she's been doing her job for quite a number of years, maybe even before school. Yes. Yes. So those, keeping people in place, having systems that keep folks in place. Sandy's a prime example of that because that's how you build relationships with them. Well, any of the answers? You have any questions or parting shots at? We've got some educators doing support. You guys want to add?
Let me ask you this. What's one thing throughout your entire experience so far that you would either like more of or from somebody different? Whether it's the employer, your educator, the different businesses that's been involved. But what's the one thing you would like more of? Yeah.
I honestly enjoyed the versatility that we really got to experience during our program, and I feel like opening that up a bit more, because there's more to that plaza than just total media.
Yeah, there is.
But it was easy to find our niches within the program, and I think that is something that helped out a lot.
3 months ago, he wouldn't volunteered to say anything in front of anybody. Anybody else?
I really liked the different things that we experienced a select experienced so many things. As you said, very mad or sad at times, but we still did it, and I'm proud that we did to help us build our skills, especially our relationships, because they all knew each other, but I didn't know them before, and so I was like the little odd one out, but I made friends with them, so I'm really happy with that, so I'm really excited for this.
And how do you think that's going to apply to being an employee for a different company?
I think it really built my socialization skills, even though I was a social butterfly before a little bit. I feel like it helped build a more respectful manner to relationships and how to plan better, schedule out.
Nice.
Also helps you handle my money better.
Nice.
That's a weird thing to add, but
No, it's a great thing to add. It's nice having money in your pocket, right? Kenton.
The thing that I enjoyed the most is being able to work with the team at Oak Hill. Prior to this year, we didn't have a media team. Just me in my free time making graphics for the Instagram page, notes, and study hall, and being a part of a team kind of made me realize that I'm a little bit more bossy than I thought I was, and like to take control of projects. So being a part of the team has really helped me get a view for in the future where I need to improve on areas and kind of realize I need to take a step back in this project, let somebody else work on it, let somebody else take it. And as we made a media team at my high school, it's really helped more productive in that area. So it's kind of back and forth. It's helped me in the internship. It's going to help me in my career. It's also currently helping me in school. That's
I always been pretty social, so I really enjoyed when we and a lot of people and get socialized with people. A lot of times it was adults and because I wasn't really used to it. So I feel like I gained a better perspective of how to talk mind, right? Sometimes they would want to now I feel like go on stage and it kind of got me out of my shell a little bit. I've been social and I like people like that, but if I'm not really at first I'm happy. But I mean in the end I did
when you say on stage, it's not a high school stage. They were actually part of a promotional weekend where Rock the Country was in Gallia County, and they were on stage with bands interacting with 300 to 500 people in the crowd. And I mean, just threw them up there, said, "Here's some T-shirts, throw them out, throw them out, have some fun." So
At the Gallery County Fair, there was a concert.
Yeah.
And they're like, "You're gonna go up there and dance with the band." And we're like, "We are?" It was kind of scary at first, but I mean, if I hadn't have done it, I don't know, I feel like I would have had all.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. We will get everyone over